Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm, of course, your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day and that you're looking after yourselves and one another. As I said before in my last two episodes, it is bloody cold here in Edmonton, minus 50 with the wind chill. So, again, wherever you guys are, if it's cool, I hope you're keeping warm. If it's warm, I hope you're keeping cool. And again, above all else, please look after yourselves and one another because that's what's most important. Now that I can't speak, I am joined by Mr. Bill Schuster for another episode of our top 5 albums of the 70s. How's it going, Bill?
Good, good. Getting much colder here too. I was just outside a couple moments ago. The wind has picked up. Winter is voicing its arrival here finally.
Yeah, not good, not good. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us for the first episode of these episodes, this idea came from Bill. So this is a Schuster Venditti co-creation production. And we are going to be giving you our top 5 albums of the 70s from 1970 to 1979. We have covered years 1970, 71, and we're about to do 1972. But there's a caveat. Since Bill came up with the idea of our top 5 albums, I put in a condition of coming up with 2 honorable mentions. So I said to Bill, if I have to work, so do you. So there we go. So we're each going to give you our top 5 albums plus 2 honorable mentions. And I promise this time I will not screw up. Okay? So, because the last 2 episodes I screwed up big time.
You
But
said it
that's
out loud. You just cursed yourself.
There you go. There you go. So I will pass it off to Bill. You can take the virtual mic and go
All
for it.
right.
You're number 5.
All right. My number 5. We have someone who's not made an appearance yet. And this is actually not one of his more famous albums, but it is my favorite of his albums. It is Sniper and Other Love Songs by the late, great Harry Chapin.
Oh,
Most known for Cats in the Cradle, of course,
that's right.
which is not on this album.
Mhm.
The centerpiece of this album to me is the title track "Sniper," which is a song about it goes deep into the psyche of a mass shooter up in a tower. And it's a very moving, powerful song. Some would say cheesy and over the top, but I think it's very effective. Harry really puts on a powerful performance here and inhabits the character and the character's mother and assorted other cast members. But that's not the only great song on here. There's Sunday Morning Sunshine is another classic. Better Place to Be. That's another one of those kind of heartfelt tearjerker songs.
Yeah.
Harry was great at writing detailed stories about humans being human and setting it to some catchy, mostly acoustic based music. And yeah, I would highly recommend if you only know Cats in the Cradle, by all means, if you're looking to explore Harry, get this one. It's absolutely outstanding, mostly unsung classic.
I will be talking to you about getting the name of that album definitely again and looking it up. There are moments when you just want to listen to a well-crafted rock or pop songs or folk songs that tell a story and just basically make you think or make you long for, forgotten days. You know what I mean? Like they take you back to a time, right? So no, that's a good choice. And guys, a little footnote here, just because these albums come in at a lower ranking doesn't mean we don't like them any less. It's just when you do these lists, it is the way it is. You have to put them somewhere. So my number 5 on this list of 1972 is Steely Dan with Can't Buy a Thrill. Fantastic debut release with songs like Do It Again, Dirty Work, Midnight Cruiser, Kings, Reeling in the Years, my favorite track from the album. Um, Only a fool would say that. Just a great album. Fire in the Hole, for a debut release, a damn good debut release. mix of rock, soft rock, pop, and I'd say light touches of jazz fusion. And I forgot about Dirty Work being on this album. I forgot about the track altogether. So yeah, it's my number five.
Dirty Work with the rare David Palmer vocal there.
There you go. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I'm a little fond of that album as well. We may see.
Big surprise.
Yeah.
As
But
many people
first,
would say. Oh yeah.
my number four is I believe this is a Hypnosis cover. This is one of those that kind of gets forgotten in their catalog if you even are familiar with this band. Many people are not. They were kind of a semi-regional success here in the States, mostly towards the East Coast. But they're a classic progressive rock band, and Annie Haslam, their lead singer, is still out there with the version of the band to this day, and it's Renaissance. The album is Prologue, which is essentially the debut by the classic lineup. There were two previous albums that kind of spun off uh, from the Yardbirds, but yeah,
Mhm.
this is a whole different band. Uh, the only connection with the previous band there is uh, where is it? Kiev was a Jim McCarty co-write. Other than that, though, this is the classic lineup: John Towne keyboards, Annie Hassan vocals, John Camp on bass, Terry Sullivan on drums, and we have Mike Dunford on here, but he's not considered an official member yet.
Yeah.
That would change with the next album. He is, of course, their guitar player and their primary musical songwriter throughout their entire classic period. So he's pretty important to the band.
Hmm.
This cover, this is another one of those covers as a kid that I just would see sitting around in our living room, and it would just take me away to some whatever this is. It's just such a cool cover.
Yeah.
But the music, and if you're not familiar with Renaissance, if you they are a classically influenced
Very much
progressive rock
so.
folky
Yeah.
type band.
Yeah.
John Tout was accused of, shall we say, lifting from classical composers for some of his keyboard bits.
Hmm.
Be that as it may, it's gorgeous. Whatever, however much truth there may or may not have been to that, and of course, Annie's voice is the real selling point for most people. But one of the cool things about this, Annie's voice is not necessarily the centerpiece on this album.
Hmm. Hmm.
In fact, there's an awesome instrumental that ends it called Raja Khan. And then, of course, the title track prologue is Annie's voice, but it's a wordless vocal, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I cannot recommend this album enough.
More like vocal
Yeah,
phrasing.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
da, 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 da. Yeah, I'm not going to try to hit Annie's notes, but
Yeah.
you get the idea. No
Yeah.
lyrics, no
I don't
words.
know what you need to grab of yourself in order to be able
Oh,
to reach that
ooh,
those notes. I mean, no, no.
I can't grab hard enough to
Yeah,
reach
no,
those
no.
in.
Loosen the grip, loosen the grip. Okay, and then I understand what you're saying. I've recently got into Renaissance last year, and I want to get that album actually. I've been meaning to get it. But no, it's a good choice. My number four, ladies and gentlemen, is Genesis with Foxtrot. Um, Fantastic album with the classic cover with the fox and the red dress, with tracks like Watcher of the Skies, Timetable, Get 'Em Out by Friday, Can Utility, and the Coastliners. I still don't know what that bloody means. Side two starts off with the beautiful acoustic instrumental piece, Horizons, from Steve Hackett, a solo piece written by him, which he said it was inspired by a piece of classical music from Bach, and the massive 23-minute plus Supper's Ready. Okay. Um, some people would say that that is the definition of a prog track. I did a video on this track. The title of the video is this the definitive prog track? Go check it out. Fantastic album. Supper's Ready was partly inspired by Peter Gabriel smoking something one night with his wife and John Burns, one of the producers they worked with at Peter Gabriel's parents' place. And apparently his wife started speaking in tongues in a low demonic tone. So that is what partly inspired Supper's Ready. So yeah, that's my number 4, Foxtrot.
Nice. Can't go wrong with classic Genesis.
No way.
All right, but that's not the direction I'm going.
Go for it.
I'm going for this band put out 2 albums in 1972, probably their 2 most popular. I did not pick their most popular album though. I picked the follow-up, which has always been my favorite by this band, and they're still touring to this day with one surviving original member, Mick Box, on guitar. That band is Uriah Heep, and the album is The Magician's Birthday with the wonderful Roger Dean wraparound cover.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go wrong with Roger Dean art either. This is another one as a kid. It's like, wow, this is awesome. But yeah, these I think this thing is just loaded with catchy songs. I mean, the previous album was Demons and Wizards, of course. That's still their most famous album, has their hit Easy Living on it.
Mm-hmm.
But this, every song is just a perfect little pop track almost, except for The Magician's Birthday, of course, which is a mini epic and is just this fun, funky, even has a kazoo in it at one point.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick a single track on here, it would, well, I don't know. The opener's on both sides. Sunrise is an amazing opener, and it still sounds great live. And Sweet Lorraine, speaking of grabbing things to hit high notes, this isn't a vocal high note, though David Byron, the vocalist, was quite capable of those.
Mm-hmm.
This is a keyboard sound in Sweet Lorraine, which makes dogs cry. That that kind of, yeah, wow, I love that sound. I could understand how it would absolutely drive people nuts and annoy people, but it's perfect on this song for me.
Yeah.
Part of what I like so much about it. Yeah, Uriah Heep, The Magician's Birthday.
Yeah. No, I have that on a reissue CD. I started collecting Uriah Heep last year slowly and gotten away from it. I'm going to go back to it, but Prologue comes first from Renaissance. No, good choice. Good choice. My number 3 is Here Comes a Canadian Contingent again, Neil Young with Harvest.
All right.
Fantastic album. You know, if you guys can get, like I said before, if you guys can get a copy of the box set, the 40th, I think it's the 40th anniversary edition, on the in the set, there's pretty much a 2-hour documentary on the making of Harvest, featuring Crosby, Stills, and Nash on it. Goes into great detail. Yes, fantastic album with songs like Out on the Weekend, title track, A Man Needs a Maid. That, I mean, the symphonic arrangement on that track and the drama on that track alone is just beautiful. Heart of Gold featuring Emmylou Harris. Are you ready? Are you ready for the country? Old Man. There's a World, Alabama, and then Needle and the Damage Done. Words, I mean, shit. I mean, this is the shit. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's my number 3.
Nice. I just got that crappy looking beat up copy at a thrift shop last week.
Jesus Christ.
It cost me 99 cents.
Yeah.
But it's a great album. It's not my favorite Neil Young. That would be the one I sadly left out in a previous year after the Gold Rush,
Yeah.
but it's a great classic album. Yeah, Harvest is awesome, and I agree that A Man Needs a Maid, the drama in that song, you hit that perfectly. Yeah,
I start crying when
yeah, it's
anyways, go on. Yeah. Okay. Number two.
number two. Well, we're back to. I've been wearing this shirt for every one of these early videos so far for a reason, because there's a certain artist who tends to appear in all of these for me, and this happens to be my very favorite album by him, featuring my very favorite song by him. That's Honky Chateau by Elton John.
Hmm.
Uh, my favorite song by him has long been Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatter's. And apparently it's one of Elton's favorites too, which is kind of cool. So this is where the classic lineup came together. This is where Davey finally joined the band. You got Dee and Nigel there, of course, with Elton.
That's
And
right.
hidden behind the sleeve,
Right.
we have Birdie and a guest by Jean-Luc Ponty.
That's right. Jean-Luc Ponty. Hmm.
This was the perfect intersection of the early folky Americana type stuff and the soon to arrive pure pop masterpieces.
That's right.
This is the crux of all that. This is where it started really changing, and I think it's perfection. It's a perfect pop album. I
Mhm.
love every song on this. Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's good. That's a good
and
choice.
this is such a great shot of Elton.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. One of those few shots with his glasses that you could see his eyes in the early days. Like,
Yeah, and
you
it's
know,
not over the top. It's not his Rocket Man persona, that the big glammy. It's just still that Reginald Dwight almost.
that's right. Reginald is still there. Right. Yeah. No,
Hercules just about to be born. In fact, Hercules is the final song on this album, which, for those who don't know, is Elton's middle name.
really,
He is really a cat named Hercules.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh,
My,
pardon the dogs, folks.
no, it's fine. I can barely hear them, but that's okay. Hope the babies are okay. My number two and number one are probably gonna get switched here. My number two is Jethro Tull with Thick as a Brick.
On the wall behind me.
There you go. There you go. Two long, intricate, epic tracks, two side-long tracks, part one and two. Um, the original album came, you know, in a newspaper type of album cover, that type, and I do have that. I went out when one of the record stores was still open here, Sound Connection in Edmonton, and I got my copy of that for like $10. He was selling it for $10, something like that. So I got my original reprise pressing of Thick as a Brick. Again, what can you say about it? Like it starts off, when he sings, I really don't mind if you sit this one out, and then and then it slowly just goes into it. And it just, once it does, it just takes off. Martin Barr on guitar, forget about it. I mean, just amazing. Blistering guitar work, just intricate arrangements, fantastic vocals from Ian Anderson. That's my number two. Thick as a brick.
Obviously, I mean, it's on my wall. I'm not going to argue with that choice. That's an awesome album. I got a little quick trivia bit for me. I have two vinyl copies of that album.
Yeah.
I had to replace one because I found a used copy a couple years ago, and it has the oddity of while the labels on the actual record itself are correct for side one and side two, it's actually the music from side two on both sides of the record. The first time I put it on, what the hell just happened here? That is not the beginning of Thick as Brick.
And it's
So I don't know
it's
what.
oh my God.
So that's
Okay.
a cool, rare little, yeah, mistake.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, so part two is on side one and two.
yep.
Oh my God. Okay. So yeah, that's some people would call that a collector's item. I call that myself crap because I want both
Yeah.
parts myself, right?
Yeah, I was a
Um,
little annoyed because I was all psyched up to play the album on vinyl for the first time in a long time when I got that replacement copy, and it turned out I still needed another replacement copy, which I finally got.
yeah,
But yeah, the newspaper inside it is cool too. The,
yeah,
it
yeah,
is inside there, folded up, of course. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and there is a part two, which I do have on CD. But you know what? And I also have the reissue of the box set version, like the book version, with that was released. But part one is stick as a brick. I'm sorry. There's no way around it. So yeah. Oh, you're number two.
the number one.
Number one. Sorry. I
Yeah.
screwed up again, folks. Come on.
See, you said at the start you weren't going to. You
I
cursed
know.
yourself.
I know.
Next time, just don't say it. Just pretend it never happened.
I know. I know. I know. Forgive me, guys. We're having
All
fun,
right.
damn it. Go on.
You've mentioned some classics that could have been, maybe should have been my number one, but they're not because there could only be one number one in this year for me. And you have already mentioned it as well. It's Can't Buy a Thrill from Steely Dan. I can't tell you how much I adore every single track on this album. And the radio hits, the big Do It Again, Reeling in the Years aren't even my favorites, though I will never turn them off either. I really love stuff like Change of the Guard and Brooklyn and Turn That Heartbeat Over Again, Fire in the Hole, Kings, Midnight Cruiser. I love the Jim Hodder vocal on that, along with
Yeah.
I love the David Palmer vocals added in here. Fagan is a great, unique vocalist,
Yeah.
but I really liked that multiple vocalist effect
Hmm.
on this first Steely Dan album.
Definitely.
I always love those kind of bands. It's the reason, one of the many reasons I love bands like the Beatles and Queen and Blue Oyster Cult and Pink Floyd because they have multiple vocalists
Because,
and it adds to the variety that they're
well,
capable of.
yeah, I was just gonna say they add different flavors, different textures in terms of
Exactly.
the vocal approaches. So yeah, I got it. Yeah.
But yeah, this yeah, it's still my favorite Steely Dan album. The whole collection is great. Obviously, we did our Steely Dan ranking a couple of months back.
Mhm.
For those who are interested in hearing our thoughts on this fine catalog, but obviously this was my favorite. So
Mhm.
spoiler, timeless. And yes, as I pointed out, I want to give a shout out to my dad. His name is even still on the cover. Glenn Schuster. This is his original copy here that I inherited, and it
Oh,
still plays great.
sweet Jesus. Okay. That's perfect. That's perfect. And I screwed up again, folks. My apologies. My number one is David Bowie and the Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Released on RCA in 1972. Uh, reached number 75 in the charts in the US. This was Bowie pretty much on the rise from the success of Hunky Dory. This tells the story of an alien that comes down to Earth and takes the form uh, of a human to become a rock star, only to be destroyed um, off of the energy that he's fed by his audience in the end. Classic album with songs like 5 Years, Soul Love, Star, Suffragette City, It Ain't Easy, the one track not written by Bowie on the album. Just an amazing album. Many artists have said that that album, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, was an inspiration to them to become musicians themselves. Yes, it has the distinctive production sound of Trident Studios, which has a very thin drum sound uh, on the snare drums, but featuring uh, Mick Ronson, Trevor Bolder, uh, Woody Woodmansey. I mean, these, the Spiders from Mars. This is the band that David Bowie was known for in the early 70s. A classic album released in many forms, many versions. I was able to get myself an actual RCA original pressing. I paid $80 for it.
Ouch.
Would never do that again. I didn't eat for 2 days because of that. But I sacrifices, but that is my number one. So uh ladies and gentlemen, we are going to attempt to quickly give you our two honorable mentions. So
You
first
want to
goes
do back and forth one, or you want
we'll
me
do
to
back.
go ahead?
No, we'll do back and forth quickly. We'll do it back and forth.
All right. My first honorable mention is one of those that is kind of shocking. It didn't make my top five almost. It's another one of those, as a progressive rock fan, the albums that were so legendary, considered some of the greatest of all time, came out in this year in the progressive rock genre, and they did not make my list at all. This one only made it in as an honorable mention, but it's a masterpiece. It's, yes, Close to the Edge. Not much. Anybody that's watching this channel knows this album. This is one of the greatest progressive rock albums of all time. Close to the Edge, the song is right there with Supper's Ready, and from the same year in competition as possibly the greatest progressive rock track. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can't really argue against it either.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, no,
Uh, Turn the lights out, lay back, and just turn the music up and envelop yourself in this track, and it's amazing. And the whole album, really. Uh, yeah,
yeah,
just
I'm very much for one for turning on the stereo, turning off the lights, sitting back on the couch, and the only light coming in the room is the lights coming off the stereo components,
yeah.
right? And you can literally visualize the music, right? In your mind, because that's what that's it's there for. You know what I mean? Like that's how I used to do it as a kid. I remember my sisters would play music all the time on the stereo and the lights would be off. And that would be the only light coming in the room would be the light coming off the stereo component. So fantastic. Good choice. My first honorable mention is Lou Reed, Transformer. Uh, you know, I believe produced by David Bowie and arrangements by Mick Ronson, featuring such songs as Perfect Day, Walk on the Wild Side, Satellite of Love, uh, Vicious, which starts off the album. This is an album honorable mention for me. I like the music. His vocals sometimes for me, you know what I mean? It's a hit and miss, but there's no denying that this album had an impact, right? And it's considered a classic by a lot of people. That's my that's my first honorable mention. And your next one?
All right. Yeah, the things that it still amazes me to this day that Walk on the Wild Side has gotten away with all it's gotten away with for decades now on the radio.
Especially the
That's
lyrical
one.
content. Yeah,
Yes, that. How did that get past all the censors? I'll never know. But
I have no idea.
all right, my final honorable mention. No, it's not Thick as a Brick. It's not Foxtrot. So I feel terrible leaving those classics out. I'm glad you mentioned them. But one of my all-time favorite bands came out this year with their first official album, and that is Blue Oyster Cult with their self-titled debut with the awesome Bill Golick cover here, which is another one of those bizarre take you to another world kind of cover. What's in these doors? Who knows? I don't
That's
know.
exactly it. Yeah,
I
this
want to
was
know. Um,
yeah.
some of these tracks, like especially Then Came the Last Days of May, were done in superior versions. Like On Your Feet or On Your Knees, the live album had the version of Then Came the Last Days of May, but still this version is quite nice. This is, a band in its formative stages. Basically, they're essentially transforming from what, as the Stalk Forest group, kind of sounded like a almost a Grateful Dead sort of folky band. If you've never heard the Stalk Forest band Saint Cecilia, go check it out. You'll see what I mean. You'll think, wow,
Okay.
this is boys. Well, that's bizarre.
Yeah,
But here, this is when the record label wanted to, of course, make them into the American Black Sabbath.
that's right.
And they didn't quite achieve that. So we can look at Cities on Flame, and well, we can compare it with a certain Black Sabbath song. We can compare it with a certain King Crimson song, and I'll let you folks do your homework and figure that out.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
There might be some similarities, but yeah, this is the formative Blue Oyster Cult. They would get even more interesting as they went along, but it's such a bizarre album. Screams and She's as Beautiful as a Footer. What the hell are those? Who knows? But they're great. They're cool. They're unique. They are Blue Oyster Cult. They're Yeah, these guys are so much more than Don't Fear the Reaper and Burner for you folks.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Yeah. And that's it's true. People tend to sort of pick, either Don't Fear the Reaper or that one song they'll go to, right? Or Burning for You is another one. But there's so much more to them. And spoiler, we eventually are going to be doing an album ranking of Blue Oyster Cult. We've been talking about this a while back, but we are going to do this. My last honorable mention, surprise, Bill. Remember that one? That we're going to do. My last honorable mention is Don McLean and American Pie.
Nice.
Um, again, I said that our songs are basically anchor albums or make the albums. This is one of those albums. The title track, 8 minutes plus, just a history lesson basically on current events that were happening around the 60s, 50s, 60s, and into the 70s at the time. With lyrics like Helter Skelter in a Summer Swelter, talking about the Charles Manson murders. The song was also inspired by the plane crash that killed the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, and Eddie Cochran. Um, an amazing album. This one track, American Pie, the title track, I've said before, when he did this live, it would go on for like 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, due to audience participation. Other songs of note are Vincent on the album. Uh, the original release was on United Artists Records. It was then re-released through EMI Liberty Music. Just again, there are albums that have that one song that save it for you, and this is how it is for me with this album. So that is my last honorable mention.
It's a great song and a fine album. That's another one my dad will appreciate, especially Vincent. I believe Vincent is his favorite. But yeah, the title track is Don himself, I think, would like to disown it sometimes. He's probably very tired of being known just for that song, but it's an amazing song and it's so fun to follow the story and parse out the events that he's actually talking about in various metaphors, and those lyrics is great. Classic. Love it.
Yeah, and he basically heard about the plane crash when he was doing a paper route. It was on the front page of the paper. And everyone knows about the Charles Manson murders and all that stuff. I'm not going to go into it, but I mean, he took a slice of American life that basically were in the headlines and served them up to everyone in a very uh, palatable way, in a very digestible way. And it's a classic, and it's a classic for a reason.
And what
And
drunk at 2 a.m. closing time, somebody throws it on the jukebox, can't sing along with the chorus.
exactly, exactly. And I do know for a fact that when Madonna covered it for a movie that she was in the late 90s, he loved it because it put him back in the spotlight. And anyways, okay, it's a dance track, And yes, it does feature Rupert Everett on backup vocals, but you know what? She still stays true to the original melody of the track. It's not that it changed that much. But anyway,
I
so there you
forgot
go,
about that
guys.
cover.
Sorry?
I forgot about that cover.
No, there you go. Oh, you forgot. I have the remix somewhere in the basement, somewhere in my CD collection. So there's like a 10-minute club mix to it. Anyways, so there you go, guys. Another installment of our top 5 albums, this time for 1972. So I would like everyone out there to please, down in the comments below, down there, please put your top 5 picks for 1972 top 5 albums and a couple of honorable mentions. Doesn't have to be 5, could be 2, could be 3, could be even 10. And just we like to get everybody involved. This was a good idea. This idea did come from Bill, and I want to thank you for this. We will be back soon, depending on Bill's battery life on his phone, with another video. We're going to be covering years 1973 to 1979. And little spoiler too, if these episodes do go well, we will be doing years 1980 to 1989. Bill's already got his list done. I've got to work on my list. He's quick. Quick draw Bill, we call him.
It's fun.
So
It's challenging but fun.
it is challenging, and it's going to get harder as we go on. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. So for Mr. Bill Schuster, I am Armando Venditti. Please look after yourselves and one another. Again, if it's cold where you are, please keep warm. If it's warm, please keep cool. And again, look after yourselves and each other. I will say goodnight for now, and we will see you soon with another video. Bye for now.